It's all right. Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me? I hope everybody can hear me. It's good to be in class today. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's ready for class. I hope you guys are all ready. We're back. Good evening. Tell all your friends, tell all your guys, tell your people. It's time for class. Time to come in for class. Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? I hope everyone can hear me. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your guys it's time for class. Tell everybody to come in. Tell everyone to come in. It's good to hear from you guys. How's everybody been doing? I missed you guys. Just 1 week and I'm already missing you guys. Can you imagine? As you like normal, we're about to start with class. We have like a few things to get through today before we can even start with what we're supposed to learn today. So quickly get through a few things. I hope everybody can hear me. All right. So I know last week Thursday we did not finish our last class. It was like one more slide to go. So I'm going to get through that. Then I'm going to go through some people's assignments, show them what I liked, show them what I didn't like, just to make sure that we all get in. Then we're going to start class properly. It's good to see everybody in. Let's quickly go through the last class. Just get through the end of it. What we talked about. Oh wait, this is for class today. I'm not starting with our class for today. Let's start with our second original presentation so that we can just be done with that one. Okay. So yes, we were in week 6. We were talking about blog and article writing. So we're just going to quickly skip to the end. That's the best way to do it. You just need to quickly skip to the end. Hope everybody does kind of remember what we talked about from last week. So where did we stop? Let me see. Okay. So we stopped at creating an outline. Yes, study the search intent of your topic. So, like I said, for this week's class, we'll just quickly clear up with what we did 2 weeks ago. Then I'll review everybody's, not everybody, I'm going to review a few people's assignments from the branding assignment I gave you guys. Your scores will come at the end of the week so that everybody is clear on that. Then we'll move to what we're talking about today. So let's quickly, rush on and move on quickly, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's quickly dive into what we were talking about last week. So we're done our blog and article writing last week, and we just were about to finish before all hell broke loose. But let's quickly finish. So we're talking about studying the intent of your topic. Once you have a topic that can easily bear the weight of many words, it's time to figure out exactly how many of them you should use. So I remember we were talking about long form content creation and why it's very important. So we went through some bits and pieces from the previous week. So I know we talked about choosing the right topic, and your right topic should be complex. Yeah. So one of the first things to understand about creating long form content is that not all topics are suitable for this format. If you choose a topic that is wrong for a long form piece right off the bat, you're setting yourself up to struggle. You probably won't have enough to write about, and you may find yourself writing just to pad out the length. A recipe for fluff and useless filler that nobody wants to read. So, to avoid these mistakes, look at your potential topic critically before writing. The first thing you should look out for is its complexity. It should be complex. There should be a lot of different parts to explain or walk the reader through. Specific, it should be specific. A general explanation of a topic won't give your reader the kind of understanding they need to grasp it fully. It should be uncommon or unique knowledge. Your audience shouldn't have a deep understanding of your topic going in because the knowledge is unique or uncommon to them. This will vary depending on who you're targeting, so make sure to understand your audience before hunting for long form topics. I hope everybody is following because I'm kind of blitzing because I want to get to the next part. So, study the search intent of your topic. Once you have a topic, you can easily bear the weight of many words. That can easily bear the weight of many words. It's time to figure out exactly how many of them you're going to use. Should your long form guide on planning a European vacation be 1.5, 2K, or 3,000? To find out what search is looking up your topic want to see, the search intent, look at the top results in Google and try to answer these questions. What kind of information is your audience looking for when they search this topic? How much information do they need to understand? How much information do they need to understand it? How much information about the topic is satisfying to a searcher looking for answers? For example, Googling how to plan a European family vacation will show you a bunch of with guides at the top with a mix of word counts. Create an outline and structure the content. From your search intent research, that's a mouthful. From your search intent research, you should already have a few notes about what your long form post should include. Now it's time to mix all that with your expertise about the topic, plus any additional necessary research to create an outline. Why? It's super important for long-term content to be structured and organized well to maximize readability and engagement. Outlining helps you build that structure. Now, to that end, always create a loose outline for your long form content pieces. Since outlining gives you the skeleton structure of your post, it's useful for playing with the order and flow of your points. Are they arranged logically? Are they useful and necessary? Your skeleton outline also gives you the key places to include headings in your finished piece. In general, each major point and sub-point should have a heading attached to it. Including heading organizes the post, breaks up the text, makes it more scannable, eases readability, and helps with SEO. Now, here's a rundown of headings you should use in your long form content. After your title, I've done this before, but it's just a quick breakthrough. Use for titles of sections and main ideas. Heading 3 is used for points that support the main idea of heading 2. Heading 4 is for additional sub-points that support heading 3. You rarely use 5 and 6, so no need to worry about those. Heading 1 is strictly for your post title and nothing else. Have I shown you guys how to work with heading 1, 2, and 3? I think I have. If I haven't, put it in the chats. End of this class, we will check out how the headings are used. Have I shown you guys how to use headings? I need a quick answer. Like physically shown you how to structure your content with headings and the rest. I need a quick answer. Yes, no, so that we can move on because I think we are almost done. What is heading 1, 2, and 3? No. Okay, so end of this class, somebody should just quickly remind me. I will take you guys I'll share my screen and just take you guys through one content I've been showing out that I just finished working on a few days ago. I'll show you how to organize headings. That is a very good way to do it. Okay, so I've gotten my answers. For those of you that said yes, it's not everybody that remembers things the same way. So we'll go through that. Next one. Consider creating a table of contents. Are you taking the plunge and writing a truly epic long form guide? If your post is longer than 2.5 to 3,000, consider adding the table of contents to the post. This helps ground your reader in the face of an overwhelming amount of content. You should also link, when you're doing a table of contents, you should link your table of contents. So like embed your link into it. I think I've shown you guys how to embed links Control K. That's essentially what it means to embed links. I'm fast because this is what we covered last week, and there's still this week and other things to cover. So we need to move quickly. Sorry. Embed your links so that somebody can just quickly pick to where they need to go to, just quickly within your article. That is helpful. Now, it helps ground your reader in the face of an overwhelming amount of content. You show them a clear overview of what's inside your post, giving them the lay of the land before they head out on the trail you've laid for them through the topic. As for week 6 assessment has closed. Sorry about that. It has to have closed by now. All right, so that is our first section done. I feel like we should do our whole teaching, and then at the end, I'll share my screen, go through the topics that I liked from week 6, just to give you guys an idea of what I liked, what I didn't like. They are not much, they are not plenty, so bear with me. All right, so let's talk about our topic for today. Now that we finished with 1, let's talk about our topic for today. I now know that I have. Right, let's talk about our topic for today. Then I'll go through you guys' assignments, and then we'll call it a night. But let's quickly get through it, because I will not lie to you, there is a lot to get through. All right, good. For those of you that are just coming, and if you're just coming, you are late. I don't know why you're coming late to class. Or for those of you that already know, and for those of you that don't know, my name is Oladipo Lawson. I'm your tutor for today. And again, like I said, it was not intentional to be going fast today. It's just the nature of things. I'm now going to go at our normal pace. So let's talk about what we're learning for this week. Clap for yourselves, all of you. You guys have been incredible to have reached week 8, and I'm seeing a lot of the same names and faces that I already know and familiar with. So you guys have managed to stay the test of time, right? So let's talk about what we're talking about today. We've gone through last week. We've left 2 weeks ago. We are now in present day. 8 weeks is not easy. Like I said, you guys should really clap for yourselves. You guys are incredible. You have stayed the time. You have held on bravely. There's a lot of people that started, they've fallen away. There's a lot of people that will come for one class, they will not come for the next one. They will be skipping week in, week out. But those of you that I see, at least for my class, I can speak that I see a lot of names and faces that I'm already familiar with. You guys are incredible, right? So let's start with today's class. We are in week 8, and we're talking about website copywriting. This week is going to be very long. I'm telling you guys now. And tomorrow's class, I'm now giving you guys fair warning ahead of time. Tomorrow's class is going to be very, very long. So I'm just warning you people now. It's going to be a lot, but the way I teach, yes, those of you that don't miss class are really trying. I'm impressed with all of you. So as I was saying, how I break up my classes, the middle class is always the one that's the longest. For those of you that have noticed my pattern, the one in the middle is the longest. The beginning is all right. The last class is kind of short, just so that everybody can quietly move on, right? Okay, so we're talking about website copy. We're going to discuss website copy this week, the general gist of it, get a brief understanding of what website copy is. Okay, so for today, we're going to talk about what website copy it is, why it's important, and then some of the best practices around website copy. When we finish with that, then we'll move on to homepage discussion, and homepage and landing page. Mostly landing page, mostly we're going to talk about landing page copy, because landing pages are where you really get to show your skills. Home pages, sometimes companies don't really use home pages because of. I am so sorry, Helen. Your dad rest in peace. It's fine. I understand that one. It is well. Stay strong, and it's good to have you back in class. All right. So, like I was saying, We're going to go through the general, just this class is a generalization. We're just going to use it to understand what website copy is, why we write on different platforms, how to write on different platforms and different websites. All right, so what is important here for this week's class? Now, this week's class is kind of short. Is it kind of short? No, this week's class, the way I structured this week's class is going to be kind of, you see it when you're reading through it, when we're discussing it, because the content is not, how will I put it in a way? Content writing and copywriting are two very different things. And I remember giving you guys the gist of copywriting, and I said copywriting is essentially very short form writing. So we've talked about long form writing, we've talked about content writing. Now we're really talking about copywriting. And there's a reason why somebody says they're a copywriter and they're not a content writer, because copy is very different from content. And I'll explain why. So, like I said, in today's lesson, we'll be looking at the fundamentals of writing website copy, writing copy online. For those of us that remember, like I said, copy is short form content. Copy is very short form, 10 lines at most, 5 lines. It's just a way to give everybody the best. It's a way to engage your customers, to make sales, right, in a way that is engaging and catchy. You're not really writing a story for somebody. You're not writing a narrative now. You are putting all of your writing skills into getting somebody to engage quickly, right? Okay, so let's talk about website copy now. Website copy, also known as writing for the web, is a process of writing online content, ad copy, social media posts, and other marketing materials. Well-crafted copywriting can keep readers engaged and often leads them to making some form of action, such as making a purchase or submitting a form. 5 lines, 10 lines, 15 lines. Website copy is very different from normal content writing. But I think as a content writer, as a writer in general, you should be able to do both, right? Website copy is all short form. It is you're writing sections or notes or content in general that is made to get the person reading to perform a specific action. Most of the time, it's getting them to make a purchase, filling out a form, engaging in a post, reading lines, or following somebody's account. Is really just, like I said, to get them to engage. You really want to get them to do something at the end. You can write a bit of content and just give out information or teach people about something. But when you're doing copy, you are essentially trying to drag something from them. You want to get something from them. You want to get them to pay. See, the most important one actually is getting them to pay. So when you go through a catalog and you see somebody writing on the catalog, this dress is designed like this. I think I've given you guys this example before. But on the catalog, the way they use the copy, you're writing, small notes about it. We'll get into it. There's a section called product description. But you get into it, you write just very short notes about this thing. Oh, this dress is a maxi dress size 5, accentuating every part of your body, blah, 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 blah. Those kinds of things. Those kinds of things allow you, is what gets a customer to buy. So your job, think of when you're putting your mind in your head, when you're wearing your copywriter's hat, think of yourself as the person you buy clothes from, right? When you want to buy clothes anywhere, the person has to kind of convince you. So there's 2 ways. So think of it like this: there's two different kinds of salespeople. You can either be one of the two. So when you're buying clothes, there's the first salesperson. The first salesperson will tell you a bit about it, say it fits you, and keep quiet. They're not really going to engage with you. So they will try to just subliminally make you want it. They tell you, oh, this dress will fit, it's for your type of body, it's for this type of person. Oh, I'm sure you can afford it. They take their time. They're not very aggressive. So think about it like that. They are the not very aggressive copy people. They want you to just, they want you to feel like it's your idea that you bought it. It's not their idea, it's your idea. It's your idea to spend 20K on a dress. It's your idea to spend 50K on a dress. Think of it like that. Those people are very subliminal, they're sneaky people. They don't want to force you into buying. That's the first type of person. Then the second type of person, that's the one that is very aggressive. The person that will just tell you, oh, buy this thing, buy this thing. Oga, come buy this shoe. This shoe go fit you. Oga, we know say you get the money. Oh, come buy. Those kinds of people. So as a copywriter, those are the two types of hats you put on. You can be either very forceful, very aggressive, telling people, buy, 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 buy. Or you can be very passive, very calm, just telling them, hey, this thing will fit you. I hope you like it, that kind of thing. So that is how you do it. You can either be one of the two. There's different other ones in between, but those are really the main ones. Either you are aggressive or you are very passive aggressive still. Right? All right, let's move on. Now, why is web copywriting important? Writing for the internet is completely different from writing offline. There are two main reasons for this. First, lots of people consume online content on lots of different devices. For example, when you write an ad for a newspaper, that ad will look 100% of the time the same for whoever reads it. But that's not the case with online writing. With web writing, your copy needs to work on desktop, smartphones, tablets, smart TVs, all different which ways, and any other device people use to read your stuff. Second, switching costs. Online are super low. Your readers are only one click away from Facebook, YouTube, or someone else's blog. This means your copy needs to be insanely good. And the secret to grabbing hold of someone's attention is strong web copywriting. Now, let's talk about web copy best practices. First thing you need to know about web copy is that you have to write irresistible headlines. Your headline is the first impression of your content. Your headline is the first impression that your content is going to make, usually before the person even lands on your web page. And when they do land on your page, your headline is what makes the person decide whether or not they're going to stick around or leave your site to check Instagram. So look at this, look at it like this. I hope everybody is following. I'm seeing some people are lost. If you are lost, I've not gone far. We finished, for those of you that might be confused, how did we get here? We finished last 2 weeks class today. Just few slides, we were done. I think I'm moving a bit quick. Okay. Why is web copywriting important? Just for those of you that don't want to lose anybody. It's important because for two main reasons. It's very different from writing offline. Now I'm seeing a lot of people that are actually following, which is good. People can speed through this. When you're writing offline, it appears the same way for everybody. There's no change. But when you're writing online, you have to tailor your content to whatever medium. It has to be your network. For whatever medium you are writing on, right? If you're writing for social media, the content is very different. Hell, if you are just writing a caption, and I know a lot of people, there are people that get paid to write captions, social media managers, but inside the social media, there's people that just get paid to write captions, right? It's the way I started. That's why I'm kind of fast. I've started fast, still kind of fast, but I still have a lot to get through. Now, there are people that actually just get paid to write captions. That's their work. They look at the pictures, they write the captions, they get paid, they move on. But that's the thing. When you're writing captions for Instagram, TikTok, it's different from when you're writing a caption for a YouTube page. It's different when you're writing on Twitter. Social media is very wild because there's different sections, different places, different ways of writing. Some people have it as a natural. It's natural. right? It's natural for them. They just know how to get it. They know how social media works. There are people that have to take their time to get used to it. They are very different people. Everybody is different online. There are some people that pay people, right? That pay people to handle the sections that they don't know how to handle. That's where we come in. Somebody will pay us, one of us, some of us, they pay us to handle the different aspects of their online presence. Some people are much better at Twitter. Some people are very good at everything. Not everybody is a jack of all trades, right? Now, when you're writing online, it also has to fit into different devices, tablets, smartphones. But that kind of thing, with the way the internet is, it's not necessarily fitting into different screens. Wherever somebody is searching something, they are searching it on one specific medium. And that's why most of the time I tailor everything to social media, because that's where the biggest audience is. But it's also where the most fickle audience is, right? So the second part of why website copy is very important is because there's so many things vying for people's attention. Now, anytime I'm describing and explaining things to you guys, I usually use social media as the point of contact, because social media is also the internet. Social media makes up the best portion of the internet. Half of the time when you say you're online, you're not actually browsing, you are on social media. So social media is the first place everybody goes to. Half of the people here, when we wake up, maybe after we say our prayers, when we do whatever, most of us, the first place we go to, we pick our phone. Once we're done with WhatsApp, is Instagram. I know a good number of people that do that. I do that myself. When I wake up, after, we do the normal necessary, pray, other things, straight, my hand goes for my phone. See your mouth. Grab your phone. Then you go to WhatsApp or you go to Instagram. You shall go somewhere. So everybody picks something. So social media is the most important part of the internet. So why writing content, why web content is very important, right? Why it is very important is because there's a lot of things vying for your attention. And they say switching costs. The switching cost is very low. Nobody is taking their time to go through different things. You can easily switch between different sites, different social media websites. There's different things vying for your attention. Somebody said casted. See your mouth. We're all guilty of it. But like I said, switching through the switching costs are very low. Before, oh Jesus, ignore whoever you heard in the background. Ignore that. Ignore the person. Yes, that switching costs. I don't want to keep going around about, but that's the thing. I've explained it. Everybody has I don't even know why I'm laughing. See, it's pretty funny. All right, let's focus, please. Let's go back to let's go back to what we're talking about. Okay, you guys can get it out of your system. It was pretty funny. He did that intentionally. Don't mind him. Pay him no mind. He has already gone. When you people are done laughing, we'll go back to class. Enjoy yourselves. You have 2 minutes. I hope you people shall know that this one is eating into your time. So by when time to end class comes, I'm ending class and going. Say laughing break. Oh God. To laugh. Let's go. Let's continue. Like I was saying, the serious people amongst us are ready to learn. They are cutting it out of their system. Switching costs. Like I said, it is very easy. Yes. Let's move on. You guys understand switching costs. It's simple. It is switching costs. Your attention is being vied for everything on your phone. So if your website, your web copy isn't very um strong, isn't very good, isn't very insanely good, it's not going to get anybody and they're going to move on. That's the sad part. So we need to be, your content has to be A grade to keep people's attention. All right, let's move on. Now, here are the real secrets, or at least the best practices to writing web copy. Now, your headline is your headline is the first impression that your content is going to make, usually before the person even lands on your web page. And when they do land on your page, your headline is what makes the person decide whether or not they're going to stick around or leave your site to check Instagram. Now, like I've been explaining to you guys, I'm using social media as a good point because, like I said, that's where most people will go to. But this thing now that they just pointed out, to leave your site to check Instagram, if somebody leaves your site and goes somewhere else, they're not coming back. All of us are guilty of this. The moment we flick somewhere else, we forget that we were even doing something else. So, as it turns out, a strong headline is not just important for engaging readers, it also leads to more social media shares. In fact, majority of social media shares that articles get, majority of social media shares that articles get come from people who have not even read the article. Instead, most people share content based on the headline alone. Studies show that 70% of women who are not married hate their lives. Bam, that's a headline. Once you put studies show, you put a number attached to it, very quickly, everybody forgets that whatever they are doing. And they're like, share, share, share. This thing, for those of us that have kept up on social media, that have kept up on international politics, let me gauge how much we all follow the internet, how we all follow engage with international politics, right? Who actually, before I actually say this point, how many of us do keep up with international politics? Because it's a very important part of what I'm explaining, especially American politics. Because if I don't want to kind of explain this point when nobody really gets it. Okay, whenever the answers come in. But like I'm saying, your headline is what really does keep people's attention. And when the headlines are what catch people's attention. Hell, like I just said now, that's what makes people share your content. When they say, oh, this content, this headline, like when Donald Trump said they're eating the cats and the dogs. When I heard that, I was so my mind killed over. It was like, oh my god. But it is something. It's a headline. The former president of America said, "Oh, they are eating the cats and the dogs." Or when his vice president said, "Childless cat ladies." Those things are headlines. Now keep your head in that space. He said the best way to be a copywriter is to keep your head in that space. Think like Donald Trump. Think crazy because you need to catch people's attention. Even though, thank you for, yes, I have a code. It's not that bad. Even though there are people that are, even though a good number of us, we tend to wade away from the headlines. There are a lot of people that will just see a headline and be like, yeah, that's the truth. And are sharing it online. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes your headline is what really gets your tractions. So think like Donald Trump. Think crazy. But don't go overboard. It really depends on what you're trying to gain. If you're just trying to get, clicks, that's why there are things called clickbait. Me, I know that people are not eating cats and dogs in America. I also know that when you call somebody a childless cat lady. That's just an insult, right? It's not something I am going to really care about. But there are a lot of people that are going to want to go there because of outrage. When you're online, when you're on the internet, outrage sells. This is a good piece for everybody to know. Outrage sells. Get people angry. Get people angry and they will read your content. They will really read it. They will watch your videos. Just come up with something that gets them angry. And they will come and discuss, they will come and insult. So now when writing headlines, I recommend sticking with the 4 U's. So we've left thinking like Donald Trump, we've left the realms of clickbait. I have to teach you about clickbait because if I don't teach you about clickbait, I honestly won't be doing my job. Sometimes, yes, it's like when Phoenix shares the craziest news. They do that. Half of the time, never. I will never read Phoenix News. I've even left Android, so that one doesn't even come my way. But when I had Android phones, I did have Phoenix browser, and they bring on that bullshit. I don't even read it. Not in this life, not me. But there are a lot of people that would read it. Your parents, they go through. I know my aunt, she goes through like everything on Phoenix. She'll just read it all and then she'll come and message everybody on the family group chat and be like, "Did you people see this thing? This is what's happening in Nigeria." And I'm like, "No, it is not happening in Nigeria. I don't know which kind of Nigeria you're living in. We are not living in the same Nigeria, apparently." But that happens. So let's leave the realms of crazy and come to the realms of logical. Now, the 4 U's demonstrate that the content is useful, creates an urgency, shows that it's unique, and makes it ultra specific. It's not easy to create a headline that uses all 4 U's, but in general, the more you can use, the better. The first one you should always do. Now, this is for integrity of a writer. Art is definitely, yes, it's all funny, right? The first one, this now we're talking about writer's integrity. I've taught you about clickbait. I've told you to what kind of mindset to have when you are doing, when you're trying to get clickbait. Think like Donald Trump. You will get your clickbait. But when you are talking about content that you need people to actually pay attention to, because the bad thing about clickbait is half of the time, once somebody opens it, they read through the first line, they are gone. They are not staying. And I remember explaining to you guys what bounce rate is. And I explained bounce rate is how long somebody stays on your page before they bounce out, right? That's bounce rate. It doesn't always happen on some pages, but if you're fully engaged in constant clickbait, once they click on it, you're either doing one of two things with clickbait. You are either bait and switch. This is what it looks like, but it's not that. Or you're just continuously selling outrage. How long can somebody be angry? Can't be angry forever. So the 4 U's are the best way to logically get people's attention. Clickbait will get millions of clicks, but it won't get millions of people to stay on. Rather, when you have hundreds of thousands of people that are staying and they're not bouncing out, that's because you've used the 4 U's. It is useful, it is urgent, it's unique, and it's ultra specific. Now let's break down that title. Let's bring down the title based on the 4 U's. Now, useful. What we learned about organic click-through rate shows that people can expect to learn about shows that people can expect to learn about this is an important metric, and it's how to improve theirs. Essentially, if something is useful to me, how can I improve by reading this? Then it is useful. Now, for others, there may be some urgency for people who already know the importance of organic click-through rates. But this headline doesn't do much to create urgency, which I mentioned earlier is okay. As long as you have 2 of the 3 U's in your headline, you're good to go. Unique. With 5 million search results in our data sets, there are other CRT studies anywhere. This is comprehensive, which helps our headline stand out. Whatever. There are 5 million search people. There are at least 5 million search results on different parts of the internet every day. When your content, your headline is unique, what makes your headline unique is that it gives a different angle. It gives a different angle on what people are looking at. Now, ultra specificity means that you are drilling down into something, a niche. Remember, I've taught you guys about different sections of the internet and how you're writing. And it's also very important that when you're writing, your content, your headline, right? Now we're still talking about the headline. Your headline has to be useful to the reader. After it's useful, it has to create a sense of urgency. Hey, stop here. You're missing out. Follow on this. If not, this will happen. These are the best ways to create urgency. You creating urgency means that you're creating a sense of um, scarcity, artificial scarcity. There are some pages I'll click on and they'll be like, click here. You are you're number 5 in 500 out of 500 people. We're only giving this away to 250 people. I know it's clickbait, but sometimes I'll just enter to see what is there, right? Creating scarcity creates urgency, but you can't then create fake scarcity. Like when you're creating, it can't kind of be obvious that you're creating scarcity. Like if I say you are number 1 in 1,000, that's not possible. There are different sets of people. I'm just telling everybody that they are 1 in 1,000 because we all know that everybody else has clicked on this link. So how are they 1 in 1,000, right? So then for unique, you have to figure out just kind of where your content fits into. For unique content, you have to, how will I, in a way that will give you guys the best explanation. For unique content, you have to take it from an angle that nobody is looking. Even though there are a good number of people, because it's the internet, everybody is kind of looking in every direction possible. But you have to go with the direction that is the least traveled. So if people are talking about fuel scarcity, right? Let's use fuel scarcity. This is something that everybody is very much aware of. Fuel scarcity is something we all know about. And the media has covered that, oh, Dangote's fuel is supposed to reduce fuel scarcity, right? And that's something he has done. His factory is operational. I think his fuel has already started to creep into the Nigerian economy. Has anybody noticed that? Has anybody noticed that nobody is kind of, well, this is for where I'm staying in my own state. I've noticed that the fuel lines have really drastically reduced, but the price of fuel hasn't reduced, right? So when we look at that, you can easily draw your own headline and say, well, why have price of fuel not drastically gone down? Why hasn't the price of fuel gone down drastically? You're talking about that. That's your angle. So your headline could be Dangote has not been true, or Dangote has not stayed true to his promise. Now, this is the lie. This is kind of the clickbait. Dangote has not stayed true to his promise of reducing the price of fuel in Nigeria. That's clickbait. Because when did Dangote promise that he was going to reduce the price of fuel? But you've gotten a kind of idea as to where Dangote's headspace is, right? You've looked at it, you've gauged it, and you're like, all right, this is the best way to catch people's attention. You're like, why hasn't Dangote stayed true on his promise? Even though Dangote didn't actually stay true on his promise. But now let's remove the clickbait from it, and then you want to inspect and you say, this is the topic, this is the same topic, but now not in a clickbait manner. What is keeping the price of fuel high? Could it be that there is some kind of interference in the way the price of fuel is? So now I've posed the question and I've included some kind of secrets going on. What is causing the interference with the cost of petrol in Nigeria? Now, I've not alluded to Dangote. I haven't even brought up Dangote's name, but I have shown you people that, hey, something else is going on here, right? And you can mix and match as you feel you need. We're talking about a very generally known topic, but I've given you two ways to bring it out to keep your audience's attention. So even though we agree that everybody talks about almost all the same things online, it is also very important that we are able to create new ideas within that. Remember, I said your ability as a writer is to find the beauty in the mundane. Was that it? I knew it was something with mundane. Find the fanciful in the mundane. It will come back to me, but that was kind of what I was talking about, and this is kind of it. So let's move on before we go on our break by 8 o'clock. I've slowed down for you people. I hope people have noticed now. We're kind of slower now, right? So let's look at this. Now, let's use the slippery slide method to explain how to keep people's attention. Now, using the slippery slides, you ask, what's the sentence main job? Getting you to read the next one, and then the next one after that. So that's the slippery slide concept. The slippery slide concept is that you make it hard for people to stop reading, and it's something that many copywriters use in their work. As a content writer as well, the slippery slide effect is something we do use. You drip feed them content to keep them engaged long enough because they know what is happening around the corner. That's how you should tailor it when you're talking about the slippery slide, right? What's happening around the corner is how you should be thinking. How do I get my reader to want to know what is just around the corner? Is just within your reach. Now, for copywriters, because your content is generally short, you are already within that ballpark. Like, look at what I said. Now, when do we use slippery slides? What is the sentence main job? The person comes to the next slide, getting to you to read the next one, and then the one after that. So let's look at it. As it turns out, short sentences and very short paragraphs have the slippery slide effect, like this. Look at this example. Find low competition keywords with ghost posts. Here's the truth. Most keyword competition scores are way off. Why are they way off? That's because most of them focus 100% on one metric, backlinks. Are backlinks important? Heck yeah. I've got your attention, and now you want to keep reading more. This pattern here on this image I've shared with you guys is not going to work 100% of the time. But for copywriting, you want to emulate this pattern. Look at it. I've said, here's the truth. Let's dissect this. Here's the truth. Most keyword competition scores are way off. You're like, why are they way off? Because most of them focus 100% on the metric. One metric, backlinks. Are backlinks important? Heck yeah. It's jumping up and down in the scale. If you looked at it, if you were to flip this image vertically, it would look like a graph. It starts off slow, it goes up, comes down, goes up, and comes down again. That's the way, as a copywriter, you should do it. As a content writer, it's best that your paragraphs are short if you want to keep your reader coming around the corner, because they can't keep coming around the corner forever. They have to finally get around the corner and see what is happening there. But as a good writer, your ability here is to show them, once they've gone around the corner, oh, there's another corner. And they keep turning and turning in a circle. That's what keeps readers engaged. Let's look at the next example. I recommend adding slippery slides to your copy whenever you can. Here's a real life example of a slippery slide from a landing page. As you see in a minute, I recently developed an SEO system that actually works. The catch-all term there is, as you see in a minute. Oh, wow, quickly in a minute, I can see what's going on. But you might be surprised to hear that before I figured out the secrets to the first page, Google ranks and I struggle. Do you see it? As you see in a minute. But you might be surprised to hear, before I figured out, now you've roped them. You're roping your readers, as you see in a minute. I recently developed an SEO system that actually works. But you might be surprised to hear that you've essentially gone taking them around the corner. As you see in a minute, they're coming up to the corner. I've developed an SEO system that actually works. They've gone round the corner and they're like, okay, let's see what's happening. But you might be surprised to hear that there's another corner they've gone. I'm like, okay, what am I going to be surprised to hear that? Before I figured out, do you see? This is laying it on a bit thick to keep your reader turning. But that's essentially how it works. A lot of us will be honest, we've all fallen prey to this thing, saying, oh wow, look at it. You might be surprised to hear before I figured out, they've gone around. Then you finally deliver the final message. And before they know it, they're like, I want to buy this thing, I want to do what you're telling me to do. Now, we've explained the slippery slope concept. We've explained the 4 U's, right? How to make sure everybody is following, because we're about to go on a break. And when we come back, it's almost 8 o'clock, and we've gone through a lot, right? So we're going to go on a 5 minute break. With the 5 minute break, Taye, I can see it's good. You experienced it, right? We're going to go on a 5 minute break. Then we're going to talk about the applying the rule of three. So everybody, remember to take your attendance. Keep your questions to the end of the class. Let's go on a quick break. I kind of even need to get some water to drink. All right, I will see you guys in 5 minutes when we come back to class. Make sure you all sign the attendance. All right, all right, all right, all right. Let's get back a bit. Let's finish up today and call it a day. Okay. All right. So let's do a quick recap of what we've learned today. We've learned quite a bit already. We've talked about understanding the 4 U's. We've talked about the slippery slope and the 4 U's. 4 U's are, aside from clickbait, useful, urgent, unique, and ultra specific. Right? Unique, useful, ultra specific, and urgent. Creating urgency, creating usefulness. How is this useful to me? Me that is reading this thing. Is this thing useful to me? Am I going to learn something from it? Urgency. Is there something I'm missing out on? The best way to describe urgency is, am I missing out on something? FOMO. Create the fear of missing out in your reader and it will click like that. Unique. What makes what I'm writing different? How am I telling this story differently from other people? What angle? What's my angle? Right? That's the best way to kind of capitalize on this. Then we've talked about writing irresistible headlines. We talked about clickbait, and I've given you guys the best way to think about clickbait is think like Donald Trump. What would Donald Trump, Christ? I never thought I'd hear myself say this, but what would Donald Trump do? WWDT. Yeah, WWDTD. WWDTD. What would Donald Trump do? Oh Christ. I didn't think I'd get to this point, but here we are. Yeah. So think like that when you're writing clickbait. What would Donald Trump do? What would Donald Trump say in this situation? What would he say? What would he do? Think like that. You will get I beg you, I'm telling you, 100% of the time, you would get clickbait. Just think about it. Clickbait, petrol. Dangote is a criminal, cheating the Nigerian public out of their hard-earned money and running away with. It comes like that. It's immediate. Think about anything. Pepsi. How would we write a campaign for Pepsi to go up against Coca-Cola? What would Donald Trump do in that situation? He'd attack Coca-Cola, definitely. He'd be like, it's obvious he would be like, oh God. He'd say Coke crossing the. Coke is made by Germans. It's made by Nazis. I can't imagine what I'm saying. Half of the time, there's lies involved in. There's lies involved in whatever you're saying. Anyway, you have to lie with clickbait. So let's leave some of those ones to one side. Let's talk about what we're discussing again. Right. I've given you guys a good explanation of what it is. I've even told you about the mind frame to be in. Now let's apply the rule of 3. There's something magical about the number 3. Now, when you include 3 of something in your writing, it feels complete. It's just enough to make a pattern and it seems natural. In fact, look at the last 3 sentences. That's the rule of 3 at work. Of course, I did that on purpose. When you include 3 of something in your writing, it feels complete. It's just enough to make a pattern and it seems natural. The rule of 3 can make you seem knowledgeable while being both simple and catchy. Sounds pretty good to me. We've done the rule of 3 again. Look at this. Let's use the rule of 3 in any part of your content. The three main sections in a blog post. Three major concepts is an easy in an essay. Three examples per concept. Three testimonials on your homepage. I could have easily gone with 5 or 7 steps, but I decided to focus on the three most important steps that people need to optimize their content for search engines. 3. I'm teaching you guys now, so I can't go with the 3. If I give you people 3 of everything, you won't be learning. But we're not talking about copy now. We're talking about reading. Especially clickbait. Okay, I understand. Clickbait might land your content in. Think of this thing, freedom of speech. Except you are slandering somebody. Except you're slandering somebody, half of the time, they're not going to put you behind bars. Are they? They're not. Half of the time, they won't even put you anywhere. When you are talking about content, right? I kind of lost my train of thought there, and I just was going in a circle. But half of the time when you write clickbait, there's a reason it's called clickbait. They're just not going to. There's freedom of speech. So long as you don't slander somebody, so they can't take you to court for defamation, you are fine. Lie as much as you want. Just make sure you're not being very specific to anybody. The one about Dangote now I might get you, depending on how big your company is, they could. But that's what an editor is there for. Your editor is there to calm you down and say, bros, before they arrest all of us here. Do you get me? But you have freedom of speech. You can easily take, so long as, again, you did not slander anybody. You posing the question, like I said with that Dangote one, you posing the question is a question. Has Dangote stolen Nigeria's money? Has Dangote robbed the Nigerian public of their freedom by keeping the prices of fuel the same way? No, it's not. You ask the question, even though you're asking a very outrageous question. See, take it. Just somebody gonna post it on Twitter. It's not me, because I don't want anybody finding me on Twitter today. But somebody gonna post it. Has Dangote robbed the Nigerians of their hard-earned money by keeping the price of fuel the same? Watch the immediate replies. You get both ways. You get somebody supporting Dangote and saying, no, he's doing his best for the country. And you get people that are fighting against Nigeria. They are fighting against him. Immediately. I'd like to see somebody I'll try. I'm not going to post it, but somebody can post on Twitter and tell us if they get any reaction. But it happens. It's that kind of content. But now you've posed it in a question. So you're asking the question. If they carry you to court, you tell them, I asked a question. I did not say Dangote is doing it. I left it for Dangote to answer. Right? Now, let's continue. But I decided to focus on the 3 most important steps to optimize your content for blah, blah, blah. That way, a post could follow the rule of 3. So as you're outlining a piece of content, check whether you have any pairs or quads of anything. If you do, it might work better as a trio. The rule of 3. Keep it in mind when you're, especially for copy. This is now on a less of a content basis and a copy basis. Remember what I said, copy is supposed to be short. It's not supposed to tell one ongoing story that lasts forever, right? Bear with me, sorry. Now, use a killer structure. Want to know one of the best ways to make your outline content easy to follow? In the world of psychology, the fluency heuristic tells us that the easier something is to follow and understand, the more people will trust it. Yeah, that's why lies. See this thing about lies. That's why lies spread faster than the truth. Most of the time, 80% of the time, the truth is more complicated than the lie. If you want to tell a good lie, this is something that nobody ever teaches you when you're young, but you figure it out when you're young. If you watch movies, you understand it. The best part of a lie is in its simplicity. Let's keep all questions to the end of the class. We'll go back and answer questions if there's time. If not, keep to the next class. But think of it like this. This is why lies spread faster than the truth. They are usually less complicated than the truth. If you're going to lie, your lie cannot be complicated. Do you remember this thing? That's why they say you get tied up in your web of lies. When your lies are becoming, they are branching, then you have to remember specific details. It's becoming more complicated than it needs to be. There is a problem. That's the truth. Once the lie becomes more complicated than the truth, everybody will follow with the truth. But understand the usefulness of a lie because it's in its simplicity. People will want to follow the simple thing easier. So if you want your content to be trusted, you need to structure in it a way that is super easy to follow. And that's the truth, right? Super easy to follow. In practical terms, this means dividing up things into discrete sections. So if your content is basically one long point, use subheadings to create skimmable sections. With that, here are a few other ways that you can make your content structure even better. Online courses tend to have a strong content structure. In fact, in many ways, the structure is the course. So head over to Udemy, type in your topic and click on a top-rated course. Scroll down to course content to see how this course is structured. I use that for one of you people's courses. I won't let anybody know, but you guys can go and figure out which one was structured using Udemy. That's assignment. Anybody that figures it out can get credit from me. Another great way to structure your content is based on a book previews on Amazon. Just search for the top books in your field, click the cover image of a book to look inside and check out the table of contents. Then you see how they've structured the book's content. Buzzmo can help you structure content. Sometimes the best ideas come from outside your niche. Check out popular articles in different niches. Then see what you can learn from the way they are structured. Right? To cap things off, then you cap things off with a call to action. No matter what type of content you're writing, you want to end every piece of content with a call to action. What is a call to action? And we're going to talk about it in day 3. But just for a brief explanation, a call to action is when you call. This is the most important part. To Luani, follow the class. Forget about the credit. Follow the class. To cap things off, you now have to add a call to action. Now, what is a call to action? In its name, it's self-explanatory. You're calling the audience to do something, right? You're calling the audience to do something specific. There are different ways you can get your audience. Precious, you might want to refresh your screen if you're still seeing BRB. But I hope you can hear me, right? Now, a call to action is self-explanatory. It is the way to get your audience to do something. Is usually at the end. It's usually at the end of class. It's at the end. I said end of class. It's at the end of your article, the end of your copy. You tell them, follow for more. Click this link to get more information. Buy. Getting someone to buy usually is not the easiest way, but there's ways to do it, right? So that's a call to action. Call to action is usually at the end of your content. It's telling them something to do something in relation to what the content has explained to them. Let's move on. Now, still from your audience, customer research can be useful for product development, marketing, competitor analysis, and website copywriting. In fact, I use customer research just to improve my copy. Specifically, I use it so I can speak to my own language in my content marketing. That's great not only for keyword research, but also for writing content and sales pages that resonate with your visitors. Write it in a way that will get their attention. Write it in a way that they want it. That's why you follow. You go into what your audience is. That's why we talked about customer generated content, CRG, right? URG, user generated content. So UGC, user generated content. What are the people online searching for? What are the things they search for the most? How was it structured? How do they want it? Remember, I've always told you guys this thing. Aside from that, your second name is researcher. I've always said that whatever you're doing, your customer is the first person. When you blow as an artist, you make music that your customers will listen to. We talked about that in the branding class. That eventually you become the content, the machine that produces exactly what your audience wants. Then after some time, you go through a rebranding, right? So focus on what your customers and your consumers want. And that's by doing research. So that nobody will ask me, how do I know what my customers want? Well, you do the research about them. Next, here are a few things to find the words and phrases that your target customers use. Check out Google suggests and search related to. Search for a topic that you're going to cover in a blog post or ad. Then see what Google suggests to you in the search bar. There's an image for that. And the search suggests at the bottom of the page. So let's look at it. Oh, wow. This did not. Searches related to keto diets. Keto diets for beginners. Sorry that the image is so, I did not expect it to be so crammed. Let me see if I give it a full. Nope, still the same. Keto diet preview, keto diet pills, keto diet for beginners. This is just a set related to keto diets, right? So, which what Google is telling you after, right, is what people mostly search for. This is a very big secret. Whenever you're searching for something and what Google is bringing up immediately after you press what is this and you're being specific, right? Keto this thing for beginners. That's like this first one is usually what most people search for. Keto diet for beginners, keto diet foods, keto diet explain, keto diet recipes. I don't even know what keto diet is, to be honest. I'm sure it's a big way for controlling your weight and all of that and exercising well. I don't know what that is. It happens. But it's an example of what we're talking about, right? Now, look at relevant threads on Quora, Reddit, and other forums to see what your target audience is saying. Reddit and Quora are a very good way to see exactly what people are saying. So if you don't have a Reddit account, if you've never heard of Reddit, which would be strange anyway, but Reddit is just a forum where a bunch of people talk about varying degrees of every kind of topic. I've gone to Reddit to find how to make things, how to build things. It's a very good way for you to just um Reddit is a very good place, but it's very confusing as well because sometimes there's a lot of just short answers. So you have to really dig deep into Reddit to find information. If you watch a lot of YouTube, you hear them refer to Reddit a good number of times. Quora is the same. It's just a forum where people just discuss random things, provide answers. Maybe one day we'll do a deep dive on Reddit. But I suggest that that's like something you do by yourself. You just go into Reddit and search for something there and see how people come up with creative answers and creative solutions. Right? All right. Keep an eye out for language that people use in your blogs, in the comment section, your blog's comment section. Not only does this give you an insider's view into the language they use to describe their problems, but it also gives you it's also great for finding topics on your blog post. Like Nigeria Naira Land. Yes, that's a good. Is Reddit relevant to the average Nigerian? I would say I'd like you guys to keep your questions to the question and answer section. But yeah, it is because we have a lot of topics and situations that are broadly everybody faces, right? And yes, Reddit is confusing. Yeah, okay. But like I said, keep an eye on the language that people use in their blogs and your blog's comment section. Keep an eye out. Just see how they're answering questions, see how they're talking about their problems, right? The way other people do it is usually the way you end up doing it. right? So that's a very important section. Look at the way your customers or your people in the comment section. You can also use your comment section to ask them to, hey, I'm leaving the forum open, I'm leaving the floor open. You guys tell me what next topic you want. If you have a lot of followers, that's a good way to generate content. Just ask them what they want. They will always tell you. Then you pick the one you can do the best. Now, be concise. Now, Nobel Prize winner and writer William Faulkner said it best: kill your darlings. This is one of the statements that has always rang true in my head. I've loved this statement ever since I heard it. And what does kill your darlings means? As writers, it's easy to get carried away with our words. And in marketing, using excessive language can have the exact opposite effect that you'd want. So, in essence, killing your darlings mean the ones you love the most might not be the ones that are helping you. So you kill your darlings. You have to remove the ones that are essentially the not they are not the ones that are benefiting you the most. That's essentially what it means. Removing the ones that are not most beneficial. Yes, you want to show your audience and your readership that you are this well-learned writer that is using prose and language and tones and phonetics and blah 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 that is just making people just so confused, right? It's not worth it. Now, AJ Belt, senior marketing manager at HubSpot, responsible for blog leads, calls himself a wordy writer. So he focuses on brevity. The first time I write something, I get all my thoughts down in writing. Then I'll look it over look it over again and ask myself, how can I say this more concisely? Now, I find that I'm able to get my points across clearer and faster as a result. So this is a good example that I pulled from the internet. It says he's a very high up person, he works as a senior marketing manager at HubSpot. And he says he's a wordy writer. I am actually a wordy writer. I won't lie about that. I am actually a wordy writer. When I write, I use a lot of prose, language, a lot to express myself. Then I look at it and I say, okay, how can I cut this down in a way that is best suited for the audience, not for me? There's a way as a writer you can write for yourself, and then you can write for your audience. When you write for yourself, that's the one you keep in your journal. You write for yourself and you explain. You can use as many words as you like and as many complicated words as you want. But after some time, you now have to realize that you're writing for other people to understand and you want everybody to follow along. So you then dumb it down a little bit. In essence, that's what they're saying. You're dumbing it down. If you already write in a simple way, then sometimes maybe you want to punch your words up just to give yourself a bit of variety as well for your readers. Sometimes you do want to use a big word here or there just to flex. That's what it is. You're flexing your writing muscles, but you are now not just showing off. There's a difference between flexing and showing off. Flexing is light, right? As a writer, you want to flex your writing muscles, but not to the point that you alienate the people that are reading it, right? So it's always important to be concise. Get straight to the point. Now, write how you speak. This is the most obvious one, but a lot of people don't do it. A lot of us don't like how we sound in our own head. So writing how you speak essentially is based on writing in your own head, right? That voice in your head, we all have, at least a good number of us have a voice in our head. We all have that inner voice that says a bunch of stuff that what's the English I'll use? Not the intrusive thoughts. Let's keep intrusive thoughts to one side now. We're talking about the inner monologue when you're sitting down by yourself and you can hear your own voice. That's good. It's good to write how you speak because it's the easiest way. Except you're trying to emulate somebody, and then that's more intentional. That takes more time. That takes a bit more practice when you're trying to emulate somebody. Maybe you're trying to emulate your favorite writer. That works. But even take it like this. The writer you're trying to emulate is only using the way he talks, the way he sounds. A lot of people are chaotic, so their writing comes off chaotic, and then usually they now later focus that chaos. So, like me, I would just I tend to splurge out everything when I'm writing. I just pour everything out and then calm down and then focus that chaos. Streamline that chaos right into somewhere else. It's very important. But that works for me. There are a lot of people that know they take their time, they go over sentence by sentence. Sometimes I will write and scatter everything. There will be a lot of grammatical errors, and then afterwards, I'll come down later and then iron everything out. So that's a process that we can all use, but it takes time. Now, it's a very big hurdle for writers because we often think that our readers use language that's more advanced and elevated than our own. But the truth is, many readers want to be spoken to like a friend. So when you write how you speak, your copy sounds more conversational and relatable. As a writer, when you start getting a job, when you start getting writing jobs, you hear the word conversational tone, write in a conversational tone. That is a very simple, it's down to earth, and it's in a way that seems like you're going back and forth. You're asking a lot of questions in the middle of your writing. If you guys notice, even in the way I'm teaching, I teach in a conversational manner. I teach in a very laid back manner because that's how I am naturally. So everybody uses the way that is natural to them. That's what best works so that the information can get across easily, right? So write how you speak. It sounds more conversational. If you're writing on a complex topic, think about how you can explain it to a family member and then try to emulate that in your copy, right? Yeah, that's how a lot of us are, right? Okay, let's continue. We're almost done with class anyway. Now, take breaks in between drafts. When you've been working on something for a while, it becomes hard to spot errors. To combat this, take a lot of time between edits. Says HubSpot staff writer Madhu Murali, Madhud Murali, right? So I do this a lot myself. Sometimes people think it's this one is more natural for me. So when I am working, I work in bursts. So even when I'm writing, I write in bursts. I will sit down for 45 minutes at a time. I'll just go at it very hard. And then after about an hour, I'll just stop and go and do something else. And then come back maybe 2 hours later and work for maybe 2 hours straight and then stop and then go and find something else to do. That's how I work. There are people that can work for 6 hours straight. But as a writer, like we've just explained, working for 6 hours straight does not help anybody. Rather, you just kind of you get tired, your brain will become drained, right? So it's important that when you're writing, you take the time, you take breaks, you take regular breaks. So I know people that will do 6 hours, but what they'll do is they'll do 30 minutes break, 5, 10, 15-minute break, 30 minutes again. So it just what feels reasonable to you, right? There are people that are good at small, consistent, incremental breaks. There are people that are just 3 hours straight, stop 4 hours. They're not talking about it. I've done some writing that I work like 2 hours straight and then I didn't come back to it till the next day. Mostly when you start having headaches, you begin to realize, all right, it's time to stop, right? So this gives you a fresh perspective on the piece each time. I read it and I get a better idea of what the reader's point of view. Now, when reading, you're likely to spot clunky sentences, awkward phrasing, and grammar mistakes more easily. This approach can turn good copy into great copy, right? Now, avoid overuse of buzzwords. I once landed on a website and I read so many buzzwords that I had no idea what they were saying. I spent a few minutes rereading each sentence to make sense of them, but got nowhere. I got discouraged and exited the site. So, when using buzzwords, the goal is usually to use words most likely to stand out to readers. Sometimes people get carried away a bit and you end up with a convoluted sentence. The word convoluted here is the buzzword. They've gotten your attention, but there's not much else. I could have easily put in convoluted, um, incorporated, inculcated, just a lot of gibberish that doesn't really make any sense, right? So don't get carried away. Remember, this is something, at least these are catch term, a catch-all term for this week. Remember, flex. Don't show off. Just flex a little bit. Flex your muscles a little bit. Don't show off, right? So now, in this case, less is more. So keep your copy straightforward and jargon free, jargon gibberish, right? Unless you have data to prove that it works for your audience. So this is where testing comes in, right? If your audience is very highbrow and everybody that reads your work are all professors, then you might as well write as many jargons as you like, so long as you can back it up. I had a friend that did that I had a friend that did that in her project defense. She was under one of our professors, one of the few people that got tied to a professor. Her and the man who did battle. Every word she put out for the man, you ask her, what does this word mean? You give it back to him. What does this thing, this statement, this sentence? And she just, her and her professor became friends. But it's not everybody that gets along like that. To really know what you're talking about, that's the thing they say, know your onions. If she didn't know her onions, our professor would have sent her back since. But if you know what you're talking about and you know your audience, hence why I say research, know your customers. She was writing for a professor, so she fed into his ego and was like, you know what? Oh yeah, now let's go after it. Let's see what you guys are doing. It works, but not for everybody, especially when you can't back it up. Finally, we have come to the end of part 1. It is time for questions, but before we talk about questions, you guys just keep your questions first. Okay, let's do questions. After about a few questions by 8:50, we will now move to reviewing you guys questions, reviewing you guys submissions. I'm not going through everybody's submission. I could not honestly go through everybody. You guys did a lot, right? So I'll just go to two or three people one or two people that I liked and somebody that kind of caught my attention, right? All right, questions, so that we can move on to the next final section. Now is the time. Let me hear you people's questions so that we can move on, right? Yeah, and yeah, peace, you're right. Call to action is like, yeah, when he after the message. Sometimes that's essentially what it is. Good luck on your exams, oh. Right. Please, I'm not able to get the attendance link. The attendance link is in the description. If you go to the description, just copy it, paste it in another browser tab. Questions. If you don't have questions by like 8:45, that means I assume you guys just are geniuses and you guys got everything. All right, yeah. Shed more light on the 4 U's. The 4 U's: useful, unique, urgent, and what was the last one? What was the last one actually? Jetpack is not the same as WordPress. Jetpack is for your content. It's for gauging the data on your content. Who is reading, who is not reading, who likes, who doesn't like, right? Yes. Useful, urgent, unique, and ultra specific. Is Reddit and Quora an app? Yes, you can download both Reddit and Quora. So to answer the question that came, what is ultra specific? Ultra specific is you just tying deeply into the niche. It means you are going deeper than what other people mean, right? Useful is, how useful is this content to me? If the content is useful, what am I gaining out of it? So when you're writing a headline, your first useful, should be your useful should be is in the name. How useful is this to me? Right? How useful is this to me? What can I learn from this? When it's unique, you're taking it from a different angle. So when your content is unique, you've gone from an angle nobody is expecting, then you can drill down. That's what it now means to be specific. Drill down in it. What else? Then we have urgency. Urgency, I said, like creating scarcity in the mind. When you're creating scarcity, it means that people are looking for it. You're making people want it because it's not widely available. Then I think I've explained everything. Please, if I've not answered your question, roll it back for me. I'll answer it again. Can we use conversational tone in a formal meeting? No, especially when it's formal. Don't 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 not be formal. Keep it formal, right? Like I said, if by 8:45 we've not gone through everybody's own, if we've not had more questions, then we'll do the review. I'll also take you guys through a piece of content so that you guys can see what it looks like. The video description, the words under the video. All right. It seems like we don't have questions there. I'm actually am I to be impressed, surprised, or scared? Sometimes when there's no questions, it kind of goes in like one of three ways. It can either be there are no questions because everybody understood it and like I'm the best teacher in the world, which I doubt, or nobody understood a lot and then everybody is like, well, we don't even know where to start from, so why are we asking questions? Or everybody just wants to move to the next part. What exactly do you write about in copywriting? You don't write about content, you usually write about products. You write on social media, short form content. That's what it is, right? How exactly do we use Quora and Reddit to know what our target audience is saying? Do a Google search and then see what Reddit has, what the answers Reddit brings up. That's how you know what real people are searching for. The rule of three. Okay, now that we're all kind of just flowing through. The rule of three. Now, the rule of three is when you write in a balance of three. So it's like you're rapping. I'm rapping, I'm not trapping, I'm not capping. One, two, three. That a very good example? That's not actually might not be a very good example, but it's kind of like rapping, where you're putting content up there, right? When you're putting it in threes, like look at what I gave the example. When you include three of something in your writing, it feels complete. It's just enough to make a pattern and it seems natural. That's how three is. It's like three sentences. It's not just three sentences, it appears in other places, giving them three of the best. Just three main examples. Yeah. But that's only when you're using the rule of three. The rule of three doesn't apply everywhere anyway. But yeah, three main examples. Let's focus on three. Three main sections in a blog post. Three major concepts in an essay. Yeah, not just of a headline. It can be anything, really. But it depends, right? It depends. It's situational. All right. I hope I've answered you. Because I'm getting kind of tired and this cold is not helping us. Yeah, okay, no. Somebody has one more question, right? You enjoy short form writing. How do you break into long form? By stretching yourself. The best way to break into long form writing is really to stretch yourself. Just kind of go above and beyond, right? Stretch yourself. Go past where you normally go. Every time you're writing, just go a little bit more than before. Go a little bit more than before. If you're used to writing 500 words, do 700. After you do 700, do 700 again. Do 600. Then do 800. Then go back, do 600. Back and forth. Keep stretching yourself until you hit 1K. When you hit 1K, go 1, 2. Then go back to 800. Go into your comfort zone, go out of your comfort zone, go into your comfort zone, go out of your comfort zone. It's a good way to, it's like rubber band. Rubber band doesn't just stretch out immediately. You continuously play with it a little bit so that it gets its elasticity. And then after some time, you can stretch it to the most without it cutting immediately, right? Good. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to get there now. Clickbait. See, just think like Donald Trump. Think of the most outrageous thing you can do or say. That's clickbait, really. It's about outrage. It's about getting people angry online. Okay, this is the final one. So, also, what if your target audience is wide? For example, ages 15 to 25. This is a very good example. This is the last one so that we can focus on the other things, right? From age 15 to 25, I'll shock you. A lot of people within that age range think the same way. They might evolve a little bit, but maybe not 18, not 15 to 25. Let's say 18 to 25, 19 to 25. They all think the same way. A lot of them are experiencing the same thing. From 15 to 25, you find a good number of people still living with their parents, still not having all the money in the world, still trying to find a balance in their life, right? You can cut that in half if you want to get your target audience and say some 20 to 25 from 20 to 15, right? It's very good. I hope I've answered your question. Anyways, let's move to our next section so that we can close this class because, like I said, tomorrow's class is going to be very long. So there's not going to be any time to talk about extra things. Let's move to the next one. Let me share my screen. So I'm going to show you guys the next thing I was talking about. Where is this thing? All right, let me just share my entire screen. I hope everybody can see my screen. I think I'm not sharing. Yes, I'm sharing my screen. All right, let's quickly move to what I enjoyed the most. So this person's brand document, I liked this one the most because this person just decided that they wanted to finish it and they just took everything to the letter, right? That's with Tife's brand document. Below Tife, you try. Now, there's a brand overview, crochet fashion industry that is good. Yeah, all genders, even pets. I like this inclusion of pets. You've opened your market up to a whole new audience that many people are not talking about. How Bolu is looking anyway. I like that you kept your brand colors up here. How do we look? You kept your brand colors everywhere, right? So, how do we perceive? How do people see us with more than just our logos, fonts, colors, photography? What we say matters. I like that this person just so got the assignment. You understood the assignment. Personality, tone, elegance, friendly, corporate, beautiful, imaginative, colorful, craft, handmade with love. You see, I like what I'm seeing here. Messaging, everything you took in, everything I taught, and then you put everything out there, which is very good. Our logo, I kind of like the one that uses white space the most. Remember what I talked about with white space when designing a logo? The one on the left, this one here is very good. And I don't want to keep gushing about another person's assignment. You people tried, right? A lot of you tried. I went through a good number of you guys' work, and a lot of you people tried. I didn't go through everybody's work yet. It takes a while to get through. Look at this. Our fonts. I would suggest changing your secondary fonts. I like the Georgia. This is a very bold and straightforward font. But again, because you're kind of like a feminine, try and look for something more feminine for your secondary font. I like that you're using this bold Georgia font. It works. Your colors, you've already put out your two colors. It's purple, white, and then this is a shade of, is this like a shade of purple? I know this is like a shade of pink. I like it. It's a really bold choice, but it's also very simple and not very outrageous. And look at your photography. You've put it there. I like this, right? This is good. This is a very good one. Top marks. Let's see the next person. Let's see the next person. Let's see the next person. Where is history? History. Okay, okay. Sorry, I'm coming. I'm sure you guys are hearing me dither about on my computer. Yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. I hate when this happens. Um, okay, let me show you guys the next person. Okay, this is another good one. I liked your mood board. You took a lot of what I'm saying to heart. I don't get this last part. What are they cooking here? Right? It seems like you're making zobo. Okay. Oh, I get. It's a drink. It's a fruit drink. Use this bottle. If you are going to sell zobo, use this one in the middle. I like this. I like your brand colors. You've shown, but look at it here, right? So you've mixed up your brand, the branding, like the mood board works, but it's still not like a kind of mood because I can see this is where your brand colors show up. And look at the background there. Your brand colors show up there. Your brand color shows up here. But you still need to work on it a little bit more. This one was good too, but kind of short. All right, let's look at somebody else's one. So there's a good number of people that I just kind of aggregated together. But let's pick another person. Let's pick another person. Just be the. Ha. Okay, so this person, this was the one that I kind of liked again. I really like this person. Again, you guys did excellent work, right? For those of you that have not submitted, I understand the submission had a bit of issues, but a good number of you that submitted, you guys are all still winners, even if you didn't submit. So long as you did the assignment, you are a winner. Let me show you another person's one. And for those of you that could hear it, that is my mom in the background. And there's no way to avoid it. Thank God it's not me she's talking about. Anyway, I like this person's one. Your approach was very tactile, and because it's a pharmacy, I will give you that. Everything was very medical. Is that the word I use? Professional. That's the word I'll use. Right? Faith pharmacy. I hope you're including this religious. I don't hope, but it seems like that's what it is. Anyway, let's go. I like your logo. Your logo is excellent. Nicely done. Good use of white space. I always point out any logo you're doing, use white space a bit. But this is very nice. Maybe you kind of want to the R and the X. Maybe you work on the R a little bit, but this works well. Your mood board, your images around is this one I like the most. I know you found this online, but this is very nice too. Your health. Look at these campaign ideas, campaign name, demographics 25 to 55, pain points, busy. You've done a lot of good work here. So this is very good. Very, very good. If this is like your logo, if you can make this your logo, I know somebody else has this, but if you can get something similar to this is a very nice logo. This is well done. If this is your logo, you try. You can also see a professional about your logo. Tagline, your health is our priority. Faith pharmacy. This is very well done. I like that there's a lot of words here. So you've already put your brand messaging out there. You've done good. You've done very well. All right. Because our time is fast spent and I still have one more thing to show you guys, I've done a breakdown. Yes, his beloved, you've done very well. You've done very well. You've done very well. Like I said, I've gone through a good number of you guys. You guys have done excellently well. Let us now move to the last part. I'm going to share my screen one more time. After that, we'll call it a day because I've tried. It has been non-stop since morning. Okay. So this is a YouTube video I worked on I think 2 weeks ago. Last week. I worked on this last week. So this is just for you guys, right? This is quick viewing. It's not supposed to be available for everybody to see. But this is just kind of what I'm talking about here. For those of you that can see, just keep your eye on my cursor and what I highlight. This is your title, right? So when you're working on Google Docs, it's easy to craft out the content that you're writing and put it up. Google Docs is like a catch-all. It does kind of feed the internet. So here, if I put this back to normal text, this is the normal text, and then this is the title, right? This is for SEO. Here, this is heading 2. Do we get? I hope everybody's understanding. And can I break down? As I had said, your title is the main, is like the headline. Heading 2 is what you use to buttress your points or break off your points, right? Then heading 3 just underscores what you've talked about in your headings, right? So this is heading 2. Like I said, it's all about breaking up your topics, right? I used a lot of heading 2 because there wasn't anything I'm buttressing at this point. It's a script. So we just talked about a bunch of other things, but I've kind of shown you guys, right? So we can look at heading 3. It's kind of smaller, and in this case now it looks like it's underneath this topic. Kind of is what it is. Does everybody understand? I even need to go back to and stop sharing. Can anybody see? You cannot see anything you're talking about, sir. I hope let me reshare because class is almost over. Sir. Let me just reshare one more time. I hope you guys could see what I was talking about. Maybe class will extend for about 5 or 6 minutes. Right. Like I was saying, this is a script I worked on, but let's leave the script thing. Just get the idea I'm talking about. When this is on normal text, this is normal text, right? You can make this whole section the title. And look at it, it's bold, but this is not how title is supposed to be. That's why this one up here is the title, right? Am I making sense or I'm not making sense? Let me check what you guys are saying. If nobody is seeing my screen, then clearly there's a problem on the other end, right? So this is what I'm talking about with title. This is the title part. Exhausted. Right? Then the second part is your heading 2. There's not a lot of heading 3 here, but I'm showing you. This is on Google Docs. This is the best. This is where I write. I don't use Microsoft Word because there's no real point. Google Docs, heading 2. You can also use heading 3. Like I explained in the ending of the last class I was talking about. Heading 3 is about just it buttresses under your heading 2. It is just like a subtopic. Yeah, that's it. Heading 3 is a subtopic or a subpoint, right? I really hope you guys are understanding this thing because it is a lot. So does everybody understand? Did everybody see? Did everybody get what I was talking about? Yeah. We have essentially come to the end. Yeah. Your screen should be seen. All right. Okay, so it's Maryland is little error. Can you imagine? It is, isn't it? It's a script, so the person is going to voice it out. I think it's easier to pronounce like that. But I hope everybody got what I was talking about because I don't tire, I beg. Did you guys get it? Like, we really at the end come to the end of this class. If you guys did follow, bring it up in the next class. We won't address it. Like I said, this next class is going to be very long, so we're not going to address anything in the next class, but you're going to go through. We're going to go through it at the third class when there's time. Does everybody get what I'm talking about? I'm beat. Okay, so you guys have been incredible. Let me praise you people a little bit. Incredible. I'm so grateful to teach you guys. It's always a very good experience for you guys and for everybody. Good night, everybody. We don't try. And we'll be back again, same time tomorrow. So let's all go and have a good night's rest, right? So that we can all come back strong tomorrow. Like I said, if you don't get this thing that I just showed you guys with headings, our third class, where there will be time, we will cover it. But for now, good night. Prepare for tomorrow's class. I don't know why I'm really purchasing this thing, but I want you guys to understand. All right. Good night, everybody. Enjoy yourselves. Have a really good day. Have a really good night. Enjoy your tomorrow. Work continues tomorrow anyway. So, bye bye. Good night, and bye bye.